Hi, I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Welcome to TCM. We're a couple of days away from Valentine's Day, which can only mean one thing. I have less than 48 hours to buy my wife something for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is also the date Warner Brothers will release the latest big screen adaptation of Emily Bronte's classic novel of ill-fated love, Wuthering Heights. In anticipation of the film, tonight's lineup is made up of movies where true love is unrequited or thwarted by impossible circumstances. The new Wuthering Heights comes from an enormously talented filmmaker, Emerald Fennell. She started in the business as an actor in 2006. Her debut feature as a writer-director, Promising Young Woman from 2020, starring Carey Mulligan, earned Fennell the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. Wuthering Heights is Fennell's third feature as a writer-director. Her adaptation features Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie as the star-crossed lovers Heathcliff and Kathy. In a few hours, we'll have William Wyler's classic 1939 version of the film starring Laurence Olivier and Merle Oberon. But we begin tonight with a romantic epic inspired by a true story, a real and troubled love affair. From MGM in 1965, directed by David Lean, Dr. Zhivago. Robert Bolt won an Oscar for writing the screenplay based on Boris Pasternak's novel. Omar Sharif is the title character, Yuri Zhivago, a Russian physician and poet who falls for a married woman named Laura, played by Julie Christie. Now, just for the record, in the rich history of movies, no one has ever looked better on screen than Julie Christie in this film. That's not me talking. It's not an opinion. It's science, like gravity. It just is. Set during the Russian Revolution as the Bolsheviks seized power in October 1917, the story grew out of Pasternak's own life. Pasternak, who was also married, had a long affair with Olga Ivanskaya, a poet and literary editor. Their relationship lasted from 1946 until his death in 1960. Like the lead characters he created, Pasternak and Ivanskaya were swept up in the political turmoil of their times. More about their struggles after we see the movie. Dr. Zhivago, published in 1957, became an international bestseller the following year, with the film rights eventually landing at MGM in conjunction with Carlo Ponti's production company. Ponti then hired David Lean to direct. Lean had already established his reputation as a master of cinematic epics with The Bridge on the River Kwai from 1957 and Lawrence of Arabia 5 years later. Both won Academy Awards for Best Picture and Best Director for Lean. Dr. Zhivago was nominated in both those categories and 8 others. From 1965, also with Geraldine Chaplin, Rod Steiger, Alec Guinness, and Tom Courtenay in an Oscar-nominated performance, this is Dr. Zhivago. As I mentioned before the movie, Dr. Zhivago was adapted from a 1957 novel by Boris Pasternak, who loosely based Yuri and Laura's love affair on his extramarital relationship with Olga Ivanskaya, a poet and editor who became his secretary and translator. Pasternak, born and raised in Moscow, had been celebrated as one of Russia's great intellectuals in the 1920s, but by the early 30s, the communists denounced him as an enemy of the people for his political dissent. He was soon essentially living in exile within his own country. Soviet government even tried to intimidate Pasternak by putting Olga in prison, where she withstood months of interrogations but remained loyal to him. She was ultimately held in the Gulag for 3 years. The Soviet Union banned Dr. Zhivago for, quote, failing to sufficiently promote communist values. Thankfully, though, the novel was successfully smuggled out of the country to Italy, where it was published. Then in 1958, Pasternak won the Nobel Prize for Literature, which did not go over well at the Politburo. Those guys were notoriously hard to please. They forced Pasternak to turn it down in order to remain in Russia. Boris Pasternak died of a heart attack in 1960 before the film began production. His novel was finally published in Russia in 1988. Coming up, another epically tragic love story, this one based on an Emily Bronte novel set in mid-19th century England. Merle Oberon and Laurence Olivier star in Wuthering Heights, next on TCM.
Next on TCM, Wuthering Heights, then Cyrano de Bergerac, and later, Splendor in the Grass. TCM's in it for the long haul tonight.